plan is to do this. I'm going to discuss why biotech is so special, the biotech clusters in America, and biotech in San Diego, and where it came from. And it's a lot about some early companies. There's 3 or 4 early companies I want to discuss that became the models for a lot of successful companies. That you may have heard of them. A lot of companies came from them. Because from the first 3 or 4 companies, about 300 companies came that are now part of the 1,000 companies that are in San Diego. Then I want to show you a typical biomedical launch. The things that go into and this is something we did in 1990, so I needed to show you that we do now for every company with different variations of stuff. Obviously, every company, whether it's genomics or diagnostics company, would have different issues. Then I'm going to discuss biotech success drivers, the things that make biotechnology really effective, and the challenges for a biotechnology company to succeed. And the things we've seen, I mean, these are not my opinions, these are basically what the industry will say. I think you will recognize a lot of the things I'm talking about. And finally, a little bit of our ad. There's got to be a commercial. And the price for my doing this is to give you a commercial. And the reason I want the commercial here is history has shown me that most of you, if not all of you, will succeed in what you're doing within a whole bunch of different companies as you go forward. And you're going to learn the value of marketing for each of these companies, because all of them will need marketing in some way or another. And you'll know at least a marketing firm that you didn't know before. So let's talk about biotechnology. Biotech's hot, you know that. These are some of our clients, and we've been involved in 150 IPOs in the 35 years we've been here. Actually more, but 150 were the ones that we were more closely involved in. So there's a lot of economic value in these companies. So they're on fire because it's the record market. There's tremendous number of drugs and products that are coming out of the industry, which is kind of weird because it's not a very profitable industry in a lot of ways. There's long timelines to create a product, tremendous amount of risk. Only 1 in 200 companies really make it long term. You know, and what ends up happening is that a few years ago, just 4 years ago, the industry lost a massive amount of money. And so, my God, and yet the industry is on fire. It's one of the hottest industries in the world. And let's talk about why. Yeah.
You say they lost 11 million. Is that net or
billion? No, that's total. That's a stock value.
Okay.
The stock value. I'm sorry. No, it's the stock value for the business. But the world I come from, the stock value, the value of the company is very, very important. And it's more important because a lot of biotechnologists don't really make money, period. The model is you basically will license out the product, you sell the company, and there's not really a product out there that's going to generate income. A lot of biotech companies do not have a profit and loss statement that's meaningful. And that's okay. That's not the model that you're looking at having. But the reason why it's so hot is because it's the ultimate growth industry. If you take a look at lifestyle issues, people like me are getting older and older, and we're getting more and more chronic diseases. And we're reaching it at 2030, 100 million of us will depend on biotechnology every day. You know, we're expecting $1 to $2 trillion of expenses spent to make ourselves better. So, hey, you're buying into this as a company, and your business models are predicated on this. On top of that, you all will make a lot of money. This is an average $67,000 yearly. I've heard numbers up to $128,000. So it's one of the highest average income industries segments in the world is biotechnology. And on top of that, every biotech job generates 6 jobs that are related to it. That's why, look at this. This is a case of what biotechnology has done. Now, as a result of that, everywhere in the world, people want to have biotechnology as part of the community. They want to have it as part of their state, part of their country, part of their city. I have flown to Bogota, to St. Petersburg, to Saskatoon to speak on how you too, as a city, can be a biotechnology cluster. Not really. But we're going to discuss, though, how it did happen for one city. And that's sort of the example, because these clusters are basically based in California and on the East Coast of Massachusetts, most of them, but there's more. And what you've got is these are the biotech hubs. These are all of them that you're going to see basically San Francisco, San Diego, and Boston. And you're going to see basically the Milken Institute in 2004 found San Diego as the best community to build a new business from scratch of any city in America, with 100 indexes in terms of what makes a company go from 0 to succeed. San Diego has the most of them on that side. Now, let's take a look at today. You're looking at data that goes back a few years ago. What you're finding now is Boston is number 1, San Francisco is number 2 in the number of biotechnology companies. New York is number 3, and DC Metro. Look at that. That's Parsippany, New Jersey. That's all the way where the pharma hubs are. And then finally San Diego. Then you have a bunch of other cities. Interestingly, San Diego, Los Angeles is getting there. Biocom has an initiative to now combine into Biocom all of Southern California, which includes you. And more than likely, the company should be working, unless you go to the area, the odds are you'll be working within our community on that side. So when we start talking about San Diego, in a short period of time, San Diego will be like San Francisco, will be a one area. It's a hub for maybe 3,000 or 4,000 companies. Internationally, the same thing is happening. This is kind of an interesting chart showing how globalized biotechnology has become. Obviously, North America is far away. But you're seeing now China, not a real shocker. Places like Indonesia and Singapore, India, Europe with UK being the largest at this point. This is kind of what's expected. And you're looking at the very specific clusters internationally on that side. So clustering is a phenomenon that comes as part of the territory. And we'll talk about why clustering is so important. Because when you have everything you need as a company next door, and we're talking about 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away, things are cheaper. They're easier. I can hire people. I can get investment. I can get legal services. Next door, it costs less and I work a lot more quickly. So what you see now is that this has become a biotechnology gold rush. People are flocking all over the world to try to do this. And San Diego has become a model. And the reason San Diego is a model is, if you go back 50 years ago, you got to be kidding. San Diego, are you on your mind? It's a Navy-based town with a bunch of retirees, period. Small city, really, with nothing technology-wise based in the city. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, it's the 3rd or 4th largest cluster in the United States. So let's look at biotechnology in San Diego, and let's see what's happened, a little bit of the history. And so this may give you some answers in terms of how this process works. And people get shocked when I go back 100 years. I actually go back to 1903, when Ellen Brown Scripps funded the Marine Research Facility in San Diego in La Jolla, which became Scripps Research Foundation. Scripps Institute of Oceanography, which is now the world's largest oceanography institution. That's part of the Browning Scripps empire, the newspaper empire on that side. Dr. Harry Wedgeworth created the San Diego Zoo about 13 years later for the exposition. The reason that's important is that that's when biology sort of got on the map in San Diego. And San Diego also started to get on the map internationally for something that people would recognize. She, again, created the Metabolic Clinic in 1924, which now becomes the Scripps Research Institution, which is now one of the largest medical research institutions in the world on that side. Now, people don't realize this, but the Spirit of St. Louis was built in San Diego by Ryan Aircraft. This puts San Diego on the map for aviation and what became aerospace. And the reason this is important is that just a few years later, Consolidated Aircraft moved to San Diego. Consolidated Aircraft was one of the largest manufacturers of aircraft for World War II. Huge internationally, the largest employer in San Diego, and it became General Dynamics, which I'm sure you all recognize, which was headquartered in San Diego. So all of a sudden, in the space of 10 to 15 years, San Diego became arguably one of the largest aerospace aviation centers in America. So it's the first time we became something, and I call that the aerospace track. So you have to understand that until 1990, San Diego was seen as a Navy, defense, and aerospace center. And just so you know, I moved my agency there from Los Angeles because I was at aerospace in Los Angeles to San Diego because I wanted to work with the aerospace companies in San Diego. And I did, for GD and Aerojet General and so on that side. So continuing, however, this is more relevant to our conversation about how biotech came to be in San Diego. An interesting thing happened. The people who were around what became General Dynamics in the 40s and early 50s spoke to the city and said, you know, it sure would be neat to have a facility area of the community that's zoned for research, for science research. Because after World War II, where we won the war, amongst which, with technology, the atomic bomb, but also a bunch of other things, with radio and all the things that came out of that war. So there's a sense in the air that technology and science was going to be important for the future. And after the war, that was a big deal. In the late 40s and early 50s, it was about science. That's why the Sputnik, and that's why the whole feeling came out of that. So there was very much a sense that, you know, you need to reserve some land in San Diego that's just for research, for science and technology. This is the part that's bizarre. The community looked around, the mayor and the city council, and they picked the Torrey Pines Mesa, the most now expensive real estate in the world. The most beautiful, overlooked now to Torrey Pines Golf Course. If you've been there in the area, it's gorgeous. They reserved that entire area for science research, period. Well, it's kind of funny because what ended up happening is that the first tenant was General Atomics from the very people that wanted to create the facility. And it became the anchor tenant. And General Atomics created the energy track. If you deal with fusion, the development of atomic power and fusion, General Atomics is one of the major international players. So San Diego's on the map for that. So we had two things that came out of that area. Then Roger Revelle, who came from Scripps Oceanography Institute, or the Institution of Oceanography, founded UCSD, got permission from the regents to create a university in San Diego. And Jonas Salk was wooed by the city to move his new research institution to San Diego, right in the Mesa, and one of the reasons he picked it was it's beautiful. Then we had UCSD actually open their campus in 1964, about 9 years after it was they got permission. Then you looked at Burnham Institute. So what starts happening is that you start getting a huge research cluster, a biotechnology research cluster that's one of the greatest in the world, actually. Right now, they represent 26 companies, 26 research institutions. And what came out of that was Hypertech, founded by Ivor Wesley, which I'll discuss that, which started the biotech track, or biotechnology, the very first biotech company in San Diego, and one of the very first in America. GenPro, founded by the same people 4 years later. Qualcomm, you're familiar with, founded by Irwin Jacobs a few years later. And people don't also realize this fact. San Diego is a major international cluster for biotech. We are a major international cluster for telecommunications. Leap Wireless, Cricket, CDMA for your cell phones are all enabled from stuff in technology that's in San Diego. Right now, Qualcomm is the single largest employer in the city. IDEC, another company founded, you'll notice the same three people appear in biotech. So in the 80s, they really represented biotech. And then finally, Biocom, founded in 1994. So you're seeing all of a sudden how the city became a technology powerhouse and how it moved to that. Now, remember I mentioned about aerospace? We won the Cold War. And the bad news is, in 1990, we had nearly 50,000 employees that within 4 or 5 years, 45,000 went away. I mean, I'm sorry, it's like 30,000. 2/3 of that employment base went away. However, biotech and high-tech industry made up the difference. And it became because of the investments we got, because the venture capital community then saw what was happening in that period of time and moved into this. And you're seeing VC investments in San Diego now meets, it varies now. The last decade, it's gone back and forth between us and San Francisco. NIH funding is something a lot of you know. San Diego is one of the leading cities, and it has occasionally been the #1 city in America. It's gone up and down on that side. Because the basic research is funded by the NIH, and because of the research institutions that are in San Diego, that funding goes there. But you have to understand that when the funding goes there, it then goes from there into companies. So when the NIH funds basic research in biotech and in the life sciences, it's translated by these major and the other research institutions into real companies. And you're looking at all the companies that have come out of that research on that side. And that's one of the reasons that San Diego and Southern California is a biotech hub. Because the basic research, its fruit, stays in the community. Normally, This research goes all over the United States. And it's mixed up and it goes wherever it goes. But because so many people are concentrated there, and because there's so many companies there, and because when you're a researcher, your team that you research, you do your projects with is there, you live in the same place, chances are if you create a company, you're more likely to create it there. Because the people you want to have on board at the very beginning, when you don't have a lot of money, are your friends, the people you trust, who work on the projects with you. And so, guess what? You end up having the company in San Diego. And it's amazing. It's transformed the city. I mean, we have over $30 billion of impact, 34,000 employees in 1,000 companies. It's amazing. And here, life sciences employees are far beyond the national average. Remember, I said 128,000 employees. It's 134,000. So, what I'm going to do is show you 4 companies in a little more detail and show how this translates into these companies succeeding, the stuff I've talked about. I'll start with Hybridtech, what started the whole business. It was the very, very first biotech company, and literally in 7 years went from nothing, from a business plan, into a $450 million sale to Eli Lilly. It's the first company that showed the fact that everything's connected, that VCs, scientists, and industry people, business people working together can create a company and flip the company very, very quickly on that side. And we call this collaboration hybrid culture on that side, which is huge in entrepreneurial venturing. The Keck Graduate Institute is a poster child for that kind of thinking. It's not just academic study. It's not just science study. And it's not just a business study, but it's the fact that the 3 areas work together collaboratively. Now, it seems natural. You look at it today and it's like, hey, that's how it is, isn't it? I remember in the 80s when I worked with some of these companies, the researchers who were there who created these companies were ostracized by their peers in academia because they were prostitutes. How could you're doing this great research and now you're trying to go make a buck. What happened? I mean, you should be making grants right now. What's this nonsense about trying to create a company? You're trying to make people millions of dollars. You're just greedy. That was the mindset in the 80s. It was not a source of pride. It was not a source of pride. Now, it's totally different. It's being entrepreneurial, and it's the fact that I'm going to translate, raw science and move it to the bedside so it impacts people and makes a difference in people's lives. Because as long as it stays in academia, it goes nowhere on that side. And it's lost for 40 years, last 35 years, 4 years. It's continuing and building on itself on that side. So it started with 3 guys with $300,000. That's all it was. Not a whole lot of money. Less than a mortgage of an average house. And it was using monoclonal antibodies, something that was brand new. Ted Green was recruited from Baxter to manage the young company. And this was the big deal. Up to now, it was all science. He was a pure business guy and not a scientist at all. And that's Ted, and that's Howard.
What's Howard's last name?
Howard Berndorf. B-I-R, Burn, and Berndorf, D-O-R-F. F, I think it's 2 F's. This is their employee photograph in 1979. And there is one of the very first biotech company, the most successful early biotech company in history. The largest M&A in history of biotech to that point. In 1985, when the company was sold, that $457 million was just mind-boggling number at that end. And you're looking at the team. That's Howard. That's Ted. Chief scientist Gary David. These are all friends at that time. Now, they started that 300,000. Started hiring scientists. Got 1.5 million from the same venture seed, and then for them, they were stunned. That was an enormous amount of money. Nowadays, it's not enough to get a company going anymore. But the world's changed. They hired David Hale. I wonder if that's how many one of the things. That help? A little bit, yeah. Okay. I think it's, is that right? Okay. And it became much more of a, David Hale came from real business. Just so you know, at Arco, he's the man who sold the very first marketing person who marketed birth control pills. and he's a guy who put in birth control pills on it. So very famous. And that was actually a coup for them to get him. It was how hot Hydrotech was to get him to come from Ortho to be the senior marketing person, and then became the VP in a year. We actually made a flag. This is hilarious. They were so proud and cocky that we actually created, it is Mentus, these Mentus people, that we actually created a flag for them. Because obviously we were their agency, but they didn't know any better. So it was great. Well, you know, it's funny. The world was different. None of them had built a company before. Not one of them had built a company in any way, had no idea what to do. They were all like in the 20s. They were my age, which was like really weird to have a boss and have a client that like, no, we'd drink together. They would have TGIFs on Fridays, you know, the whole Friday afternoon in the parking lot, which freaked out the investors. It freaked out the VCs. And when they were bought by Eli Lilly, they really freaked out. No, wait, you mean you drink beer and wine? Are you out of your friggin' mind? I mean, okay, it was wonderful because it became very, very powerful because they developed a corporate culture. This is very important for these sort of companies. Where you go up to the CEO, Ted was the member of the company, and say, hey, Ted, I think that's really not a good idea. What we're doing in this area sucks. We should do this. And people would argue. And the arguments were really genuine and decent, and they were heavy, though. People really cared because they cared about the projects. And that kind of communication channel was very, very powerful for the company. It allowed the company to really, really do some fantastic stuff. And the company did explode. I mean, like, it's kind of fun. They actually went in 1982, 83 to China. And we love seeing in China all our materials, all the marketing materials are made for the company to sell pregnancy tests, which makes sense if you think about it. In China, there's like a really huge market at that end. And the marketing, the thing that I like to say now, maybe brag, one of the reasons the company flew is that both David and Ted had come a little bit of marketing. David told me he was the marketing guy for Baxter, I mean, for the company, the Ortho. So what had happened is to them, marketing was everything. You start with marketing to sell the IPO, to sell the early stage product. And so they also flew, everything we did for them was about marketing their products. For a teeny little company, it looked like huge. The product, and this is the team. Just so you know, it's David, Cam Garner, and Paul Owen. All have run companies now. Actually, he's run 5 companies. And he'd be one of the other case studies I got. He's had 14 companies. Huge. Absolutely huge. So you're looking at a team of people that were, and it's the only time I saw them with a tie, just so you know. I mean, it's kind of pretty neat. But it's that ability to work as a team, which is something you're learning here, because I know I was told about some of the projects you folks had. The ability to work together for a long period of time, a year or longer, as a team, so you get to know who to trust, who to work with, what their weaknesses and what their strengths are, so you can then use them effectively to make the project work better. Ultimately, you create a better product. You solve problems in a more powerful way. That team spirit was amazing. And no, for me, I didn't know any better. It was part of the team. You know, that's how the world is. You know, I had big clients, but they were like very distant. They're very different. So what was kind of fun is then we got to do all the stuff in the first trade show that they went to. Then technology. They also realized something that I've learned from them. This is the sandwich antibody, which was the IP, the intellectual property that made them win against Abbott. It was a huge lawsuit and IP case, very landmark in biotech, one of the very first ones. They won it. We were asked to actually illustrate the technology, and this is one of the ways. They took these illustrations and used them to market their materials. This is in 1982, 83, and it became then on the media. All of a sudden, when people talked about that technology, people were using Hybrid-Tech stuff. You know, one from Hybrid-Tech. All of a sudden, this little company became the mouse that roared. Because, well, everything about monoclonal antibodies became them. They owned the technology, and we call that branding indirectly on that side. So these are kind of rules. They went public, and this is the stuff that went public, and this is all their employees at the time that they went public. Kind of fun. Just so you know, this picture here was in Time magazine. Remember that? That would never be done now. It shows one of the lab techs holding it. Oh, actually, that's Howard. Whoops, it's Howard. Holding a mouse, injecting it. No way in would that be presented in a magazine cover anywhere in the U.S. The different world. Okay, this is very important. They established that biotech can be a real viable business. You have to understand, it was a long time ago on that side. They actually became the role models for doing how you make this work, for technology transfer and corporate partnering on that side. But there's also something else. They validated biotechnology as an investment sector on that side. However, this is something to keep in mind. When they got sold to Eli Lilly, there were two models of biotech. And if you know what FIPCO and RIPCO, have you heard the terms before?
Yes.
Okay. So FIPCO, fully integrated pharmaceutical company, and RIPCO, a royalty-based pharmaceutical company. In the beginning, everybody wanted to be what Amgen and Cephas was. We're going to become a little company and become Pfizer, because we're going to be great, and we're going to become huge. No, and what ends up happening is that that path is very difficult, very rare. There's a few, Genentech and Amgen made it, but there's only a handful of these companies. There are not that many. But they all ultimately get bought by the larger pharma. And what people discovered is that the RIPCO market is more effective. Licensing and then M&A is what really happens, and that's what the investment community appreciated. So one of the things that San Diego learned, and it's not, I think there are paradigm studies and lessons for the industry, is that it's partnership versus competition. In San Diego, companies compete. I mean, collaborate, not compete. When an oncology company gets funded, it's a hurrah, because every other oncology company says, great, we're more fundable. When there's a successful diagnostics IPO, every other doctor says, yay, there's more of an appetite for diagnostics IPO for the rest of us. There's a sense that the lifting water raises all, raising tide lifts all ships. And in San Diego, that's very much part of our, where we are. The other side is that getting better just means that basically you want to get acquired, which is okay. And of course, RIPCO is now the new standard. This is an example of what happened. And this is in a 10-year period, actually less than 10 years. And this is Hypertech, the companies that came out of Hypertech, right? This is up to 1995, so can you believe that? Watch. And what ends up happening is that other companies that came after that, and then look at all the device companies and diagnostics companies that were around the cluster. So when you're looking at, and this is just before 1990, 1996, 97. So you're really looking at how much is really happening in that space. How was that discussed put out? One of the first diagnostics companies in San Diego, founded in 1979, launched their first products in 84, now has revenues of nearly $200 million. And these are the kinds of things for the office, allergy market, flu, influenza, etc. on that side. GenPro, another company founded outside of Hypertech. Gary David, the chief scientist from Hypertech, introduced one of his friends to Tom and Howard. Tom was the VP of manufacturing, and Howard was the founder of the company, and wanted them to invest in it. Ted said no, because we're a small company, we can't invest in other companies until we make it big. And so, however, so they went ahead and put $100,000 themselves, invested in the company, left Hypertech, started GenPro. Then Ted put $1 million into the company. And it was the first of all the Hypertech companies. The company succeeded, went public in 1987, got sold to Chugon in 1989 for $110 million, did very, very well. In 2002, it ironically got spun out again because of a Roche merger and went public. It's the first company I ever heard of that had two IPOs. Same company had two IPOs, and we managed both IPOs, which is bizarre because our friends were still there. However, in August, 3-4 years ago, they were acquired by Hologic for $3.7 billion. So you're looking at very, very large value creation in little companies that are like, you think with diagnostics is a small area. But one of the things I say about Hypertech and San Diego is there's over 1,500 medical device and diagnostics companies and only about 700 or 800 biotechnology companies in San Diego. So the medical device and diagnostics area is a much larger group of companies than pharma or biotech. And that's true of San Diego, I mean, of Los Angeles, even more than San Diego. And if you go to Orange County would be the second largest medical device center in the country next to Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Device Alley Minnesota, near Minneapolis. That's it. And this is some of them, their first trade show. We were recognized in 1985, 1987, a little bit more on that side. Now, I'm now going to walk you through a company in 1990 that was created by Cam Gardner, who was formerly the VP of marketing for Hypertech. And I want to demonstrate how we brand our company, its products, its technology, and the company, launched the company, and how it prospers and succeeds, using marketing principles on that side. The company was founded in 1981, and Gardner, the VP of marketing at Hypertech, took over in 89 as a turnaround. The company had 2 salespeople. It was crashing and burning. It had less than $1 million in sales. And it was going to be a ripco model. They're not going to develop products. They're going to license products from Big Pharma. And what ends up happening is, Big Pharma has enormous pipelines of products and enormous stables of products. They don't market all the products. They sit there. Some products they'll market, doesn't do very well. And a lot of companies have a threshold. If the company product doesn't make X amount of money, maybe $500 million, they shelve it. They'll sell it, they'll license it out, they just don't want to put their sales team, they don't want to put their resources to market the product. And it may be smart because a company like Pfizer can't spend less than $500 million to market anything. So it makes sense. If the market's like only $100 million in sales, it's only that. So guess what? The product is put away. Sterling Drug in 1981 actually had a product called Tourmaline that he tried to launch, and it failed. It was okay, but the big product, albuterol, ate it up. So they took it off the market and put it away. Cam couldn't find anything to market in his space of pulmonary and respiratory disease areas but that product. So he purchased Tourmaline from Sterling in 1990 and was going to launch the product and then did an IPO in 1992. He wanted to use that product to build a strong marketing presence and build about 400 or 500 reps at that side, and then develop an internal technology to deliver these products. So he needed to brand and launch his first product. The problem is, they're competing with generic products. Number 2, this is a product that failed 10 years earlier. So if you want to get something for your first product, this is kind of a loser. It's like, oh my God, you got to be kidding. I mean, 10 years ago, doctors looked at this and went, and now 10 years later, you're going to reintroduce the same product, and you go, huh? And you want to bet the company on it? And it's actually kind of weird because it was to introduce the company. That was our problem. Now, this is one of those areas that he trusts us a lot. So it's like, okay, let's see what we can do. So we created a branding strategy. Now, there are a couple things that the product had going for it. It would last a little bit longer than the other products. So if you're getting allergy and asthma attacks, you take something for it. Most stuff lasts 4 hours. So try to sleep when you have to get up every 4 hours to take your dose of heroin. That makes sense? So if something can go 6 to 8 hours, wow. And this good. And it has a mechanism that makes that, so people, I don't believe that. Well, it's a prodrug mechanism, chemical mechanism that makes that very valid on that side. So we decided that that's the thing we're going to do. We're going to rename the product Proderol, which means prolonged duration. Dura, that's sweet. Proderol, Dura, we're geniuses, right? They're great. So we do all that, and we set up this whole thing going in about a year. Get that all ready to go. This is the mechanism. The illustrations of what happens. The method of action provided the clinical differentiation on the side. And this is what the Proderol would look like, the brand and whatever. Now you're looking at the campaign to start. Guess what happens? A month before launch, the FDA says, can't use Proderol. It implies prolonged duration, and we can't you do that. You have to call it Tourmaline. It was called 10 years ago, the loser name. Really? And that's a month, 30 days before launch. That came down. And of course, you can imagine that was a very fast 30 days that we had to go and change everything into Tourmaline. So we pushed the scientific credibility side big time in all the ways you can see. We talked about, so the science is science. This works because the science is on our side. Which, back in 1990, biotechnology was starting to take off. Doctors were going, hey, what's all this new biotech stuff? So they're expecting miracles. So the science had more credibility than it did 2 years earlier on that side. And we did it in the advertising. You see, the ads are like, look at it. I mean, they're really, really, these are for physicians, pulmonologists, and allergists. Even their annual reports and stuff were done in the same way, and exhibits and whatever. It worked. It worked. My God, it took a year to get to $1 million, and in 5 years it was 25 million. It worked. The company that 3.8 million in 1990 became 180 million by 1997. Market value. This is the part that in our world is really a big deal. The company went from 5 million market cap to $2 billion. So it works. If you can get market and clinical traction as a company, hold that thought, you can translate that into investment traction. And that has to translate into investment value, because that's how you sell a company. Well, that's how you partner with the company, strategic marketing on that side. You have to use both of those things, and they work in concert. One supports the other. Usually the marketing side supports the investment side. The investment side, not as much, although you become a sexy kind of company. So people say, what's Neupogen? I know what Neupogen is, because Amgen's such a hot company on that side. And it worked. In 2000, they were acquired by Elon for $1.8 billion. And interestingly, their headquarters is now the headquarters of one of our other clients, Nuvasiv, which is not part of our case study, but it's a normal case study on that side. So I want to discuss a little bit about successful biotech business models and the fact that we are talking about their contradictions. Companies need to grow organically, then you have to show the ability to commercialize their therapies internally. Because physicians need to know you. Your customers need to know you as a company. It can't be just distribution areas. So if Amgen starts selling products, doctors have to know who Amgen is and trust your products on that side. And you have to, it allows you a lot of power. Amgen, with all the products it's got, it has tremendous leverage. And that's why people have Pfizer and Merck and Bristol Myers Squibb, because there's a brand that a physician or a hospital takes seriously. They trust the company. They may not know a lot about your drug, but it's got to be effective because it comes from Bristol Myers. By definition, very important. Companies have to partner. This collaboration model that started in San Diego has become huge around the world. If you're a biotech company, it's all about partnering compounds with somebody else, whether it's the distribution side or third stage clinicals or whatever. And ISIS, which is the youngest now, has 36 compounds. 24, 2/3 of the compounds are done with companies. I mean, they don't make as much money, but hey, all of a sudden somebody's bearing the heavy lifting in terms of the cost of that side. And it's all about acquisitions. You have to acquire a whole ton of companies along the way. And look what Gilead did. Their acquisition of Pharmacet gave them Sovaldi now, which is like $11 billion product a year on that side. So what I want to show you is maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. There's 8 things that I think you may all know, but these are kind of basic issues that we see with biotechnology issues. There are different models. There's economic and social factors that impact biotechnology as an area. The drug approval process, which you're familiar with, is a key issue in biotechnology and value. The patents and IP area is massively important. Commercial growth drivers that impact biotechnology. The spending drivers, IP vis-a-vis the marketplace around us. What competition means in biotechnology right now. The need and how biotech uses external capital. Europe now has become more and more important. Now with Brexit, it's going to be extremely interesting at this moment. And what this translates ultimately to valuations on that side. So the product models, there's actually 3. You got a product company, that's a product. And these are most typical, you think of biotech, this is what you think of. We have like Amgen and Biogen and Gilead, we have a product, and this is what people, whether hospitals or doctors or clinicians, buy. Subscription model is basically you sell to other biotechnology or pharmaceutical companies. A whole series of Affymetrix is an example of that. Life Technologies is an example of that. Actually, if you look at Illumina, these are biotech companies, but they basically don't sell to consumers at all. Finally, we have service models, which some of these are related to platform technologies. Another area, are you all familiar with contract research organizations, CROs? It's a big area. It's become a growing area because ultimately, big pharma and biotech is outsourcing their development side. More and more, right? They're more and more outsourcing discovery, the early stage, and a lot of the development side is outsourced because big pharma no longer wants to do that work because they're inefficient. You may have a big pharma company with 10,000 researchers, and they can do a hell of a lot better just buying the actual products that are early stage developments done by small biotechs and distribution models, there's basically two kinds. You have, facility reimbursement through injection drugs, so you take it in. I mean, that's basically the two models that exist. And you can choose as a company which way you want to go, and depending on the nature of your product, and it's about half and half. If you go to the oral drugs, you start dealing with PBMs, intermediaries, which is a very huge part of medicine in the clinical community. And I'll talk to that later, because the relationships with a PBM can make or break the company. And the ability to work with a PBM to get reimbursement, to get hospitals and insurance companies to carry the product, will make or break the company. Because a lot of these companies don't market directly on that side. Economic factors, well, you know this already. Interest rates affect biotech. Weak economic growth reduces biotech investment. That's a real shocker and real price on that. Currency fluctuations are becoming a bigger deal because more companies are global. And the more global a company is, the stronger the dollar, the worse it is for them for their bottom line. The weaker the dollar, the more money they make. So it's kind of a trade on this side. And the weak dollar does not affect them domestically. So be real clear. Currency fluctuations doesn't affect them here at all. So it's a win-win for them. The dollar gets weak, you still make the same sales in the US, but you can add 20, 30, 40% of sales globally on that side. And you can see that for a lot of companies on that end. One part that people don't realize, sometimes lower oil prices can actually boost because the active pharmaceutical ingredient is cheaper. I don't think it's that big a number, but social factors, I just mentioned. Old geezers are really making a jump start for the industry. Me, we're going to make you rich. I am going to make every one of you rich because there's going to be 100 million of you in about, literally, in 10, 12 years. And desperate need for every biotech drug you can think of. And you're making them. And they have to be cheaper because Medicare's got to pay for them. But the truth is that's really what it is. And so it's kind of wonderful on that side. Lifestyle, people like me have all this. I don't exercise. I walk to my car every day. I used to smoke. I don't smoke. I do drink. But not that. No, I don't have alcohol to go. That's not that bad on my side. But all of us, though, if you look at this heart disease, I'm fat, and my wife has arthritis. Now, we don't have cancer, but, I'm prone to these two, more than likely. My parents died of that. So this is me. And there's 100 million of us, so you have job security wherever you go. And you can actually make companies. And we have clients that are building their companies on this demographic, which is actually very true because there's certain kinds of things in orthopedics. In the orthopedic industries, it's completely going down this area, that side. Now, geography, not as big a deal that affects you all, but certain geographic areas have certain disease types that are more common in that area. And that is an area that I don't think is as important as it could be. Oh, this is, I'm speaking to the choir. You know this already. 15-year development cycle, 1 in 10,000 compounds makes it, process 1 billion to 1.5 billion. That number argues, and it's how you do the metrics, and you know that already. I don't want to waste your time on it, but it's really hard. This is interesting. 100 drugs into phase 1, 70 paces to 2, 33 to phase 3, and 25 at the end, which is kind of interesting on that side. The process, what it takes to do, again, this is the choir. This is a show that I present to a lot of other people. But intellectual property rights are a bigger deal. And this is critical. And you have to know how critical that is. Because if you're going to spend $1.5 billion on the drug, you better have the rights to it. The part that's interesting, though, is that when you finally do an NDA, you only may have 10 years left, or less, 7 years. Because if you're spending 10 years to make the drug, and then you file a new drug application, and you got the patent when you started the process in the beginning. Because let's say you started to get the patent and you're developing the product, and then you file an NDA 10 years into that. You only got 10 more years left. And they have to understand the generics are there ready to pounce on you. And now it doesn't matter whether you have you can have a biosimilar if you've got a biological drug on that side. Okay, supply factors in here. These are good things for a company. Having a strong R&D pipeline is true of the entire industry. There's a huge R&D pipeline. It doesn't mean they're all translated into products, but you have thousands and thousands of drugs, products being developed, compounds. Actually, you have hundreds of thousands of compounds being developed, but thousands of them that are actually into trials. Oncology. Now, are you aware that oncology is really, cancer is the golden brass ring? That's where most biotechnology is going in terms of money. The most funded companies, the hottest companies are in this area. And this is the reason. 14 million new cases a year with 8 million deaths, and up to nearly 20 million in 5, 6, 7 years from now on that side. Now, followed by these other wonderful diseases on that side. So what's ended up happening is that this commercially, it's a hot industry getting hotter. So the funny thing about this is that 5 years from now, this will be even more enthusiastic presentation than you see now. This is really a growth industry. I mean, people don't really realize how, unlike a lot of areas, you can say, it's cyclic. The cyclic part of biotech is whether the IPO window opens and closes, and some market, volatility you have on Wall Street. But the truth is, the longer-term curve is huge, and as long as the demographics in the U.S. and you're looking now that American demographics are going to become global demographics with China and the rest of the world. As the quality of life in India and a whole bunch of other places improves, the need and the affordability for these therapies, for these diseases, is going to become global. So markets that were maybe 100 million people here become 500 million. And so do the math, and you can say, yes, this is an area we need to build on that. And of course, this is leading to M&A deals. Big M&A deals are creating more money to be spent into more compounds. When a company is acquired by another company, it doesn't mean its product line goes away. All of a sudden, specific parts of its product line that would have been thrown away because we don't have the money to develop. We have 15 things in our product line. And come on, we're a so-so company. We can develop 4, maybe, if we're lucky. But if we get acquired by Ortho, those 15 companies, maybe 10 or 11 may get funded. Because this money's there. And they're willing to bet more of the money. So all of a sudden, you double the number of compounds that go to market when you have a lot of M&A. That's something people don't realize. High M&A activity just increases the activity of more product development. It doesn't make it less. People say, consolidation is bad. It's squashing it. No, it's not squashing it. The company goes away, but its development of these products does not go away. It just gets funded. Spending. Okay, look at this. This is amazing. Prescription drug spending was only $400 billion 2 years ago. Now it's about $500 billion. These are the products we're talking about. I just mentioned about immuno-oncology. We've had 4 or 5 clients at Mentus in immuno-oncology on that side. There's a bunch in San Diego. Guy Pharma is in Santa Monica. I think you guys know about Chuno Pharmaceuticals. Kite, whatever I wanted to tell you about that. Okay. Then you're looking at a bunch of other hot products on that side. Now, this is relevant to our conversation in a big way. The increased M&As and collaborations actually increase the competition.
I just wanted to give students enough time to ask you some questions. We have about 6 minutes left.
Okay, you know what? I think it's the second to last slide. So I'm good with that. What you're seeing is that it's leading to price wars. And what's happened is they're getting very bloody. You look at Solvati, which had a $1,000 bill, and 2 years later, I think we reduced almost half in price because of other companies bouncing down. So the M&As are actually good for the market because they actually drive down the cost, not the other way around. And sources of capital, you notice already, big pharma does not need capital. It has billions and billions, if not trillions of dollars sitting in its pockets, actually offshore, they can use in development. Biotech needs to use the capital markets in all the ways that you know about. And then you're looking at European entry strategies, which are the obvious ones: direct launch, license, joint venture, and even M&As, although these are tax. Look at Apple, it shows you one of the ways that M&As are used abroad. Valuations, this may be something you're much closer to in some of your conversations, that when companies are valued on 2 things, they're valued on what they have in place right now, and they're valued on the R&D pipeline. So if a biotech is just the R&D pipeline, the value is strict for the future. It's not today. If a company has product, the 2 are aligned with each other, and then it's aligned vis-a-vis compared to other companies, and that totally affects the valuation of the company going forward. And that's it. What I've got here, these are the ads of the things that we do at Mentus on the side. So we provide a whole bunch of marketing stuff for companies, branding and strategy. We provide a lot of websites and 3D modeling and videos across the. We've actually won several Emmys historically. And marketing and advertising for launching products all over the world. Investor communications, we've done 500, 600 annual reports in our history. We have been part of Bioscience since 1980. Actually, I'm a founder of Biocom and a whole bunch of biotechnology firms. These are some of our clients. Now, this is interesting. These are 33 of the largest M&As in San Diego history. Everyone's been a client. And each one represents $85 billion in transaction value. So this proves what I'm saying works because it builds value for a company. That's it.